How's everybody doing this morning? Good, yeah. Good week. Interesting start to the new year. Let's actually start by getting back to the center. So find a good place. Allow your feet to touch. Uh, Bring your head top to the highest point. Relax your shoulders. Relax your tailbone. And then breathing. Bring your hands up to the center. Let the base of the palms connect first. Relax your shoulders, elbows, and wrists. Take a deep breath. So standing here for a second, put your mind into the dantian and focus on your breathing. And then we're going to make some micro adjustments, calibrate. So from the head top, from the very crown chakra, feel like there's power going up, whether it's internal or external, that there's a feeling of force going up. And then relax your brow, wiggle your eyebrows around. If you can wiggle your ears, do that too, so that the whole top of the head is relaxed. And then open your vision. So expand your field of view all the way to 180. If the relaxed position is to have the eyes at 50%, increase it just to 51%. Open your nostrils and open your sinuses. You can push your nostrils open sideways when you breathe. So relax the front of your face. Keep the tongue connected to the upper palate. You want to keep it as relaxed as possible so the energy can travel through. And then check to see that you have a half smile as the minimum. This is just activating the corners of the mouth. You see this on the statue of the Buddha. Push your chin back while pushing the back of the head top up. So as if you're lining up your ears with the center of your torso over the shoulders. And then moving down, roll your shoulders back and allow them to relax. Again, sometimes when I use descriptions to describe what we're doing with these adjustments, I use basic terms. The shoulders should be in the correct position. We want to have the chest as hollow, so it's not pushing out forward. It's also not sunk. It's in the correct place and relaxed. You should feel a space in your armpits so that the torso is relaxed. In the classics, it says space for a robin's egg to sit inside the armpit. There's a hollow there, which the chi can keep the arms expanded. Use the center, so we're engaging the abs. And that allows us to relax the tailbone. And then take your lower body offline. So make a connection from your tailbone all the way to your toes. Let your legs really relax. As if you're about to sit right on the edge of a bench or a stool or a chair. And then activate your feet, grip your toes. You can think of driving your toes into the ground directly, as if you're pushing them into the ground, or as if you're curling, scooping, drawing. Either way, activate the bottoms of your feet, the whole base. And then take a deep breath, relax. We're going to start with some breathing. We're going to do some new exercises today. So let's start by just filling up with some chi. So make this a long breathing pattern. You can make it a stretch. On the inhale, lifting the base of the torso, closing the abs. And on the exhale, letting everything relax. In Tai Chi, we want to have something that's referred to as breathing strategy. there's a lot of different schools of breathing out there: yoga, qigong, kung fu. And they're all valid. They all have a good means to what they're trying to accomplish. So when we're doing this initial qigong, when you're stretching, I'm giving you a very basic idea for breathing, which is creating some pressure on the inhale by closing the base and then releasing it. But I know some of you have been studying yoga, qigong, kung fu for many years. So if you have a different breathing strategy, that's okay. Reach all the way out to the sides, and at the base, everything is relaxed. So grip your toes as if you're reaching all the way up. Stretch. Go at your own pace. Do 3 more, depending on how fast or slow you're going, and make it the longest, most relaxed breathing of the week so far. And wherever you're at, when you reach the end, bring your feet back together in the center. Allow them to touch naturally. Relax your tailbone and your shoulders. Bring the head top up and bring everything back to the center. And then recalibrate. Go from the top to the bottom. We mentioned last week, basic acupuncture theory is going from top to bottom, placing needles, doing massage. We want to move things to the end of the chain or to the end of the body. This also, something else I forgot to mention about that, is it also going from the center outwards. So relax. We're going to do some stretching, and like I said, we're going to do some new exercises today. So take your one hand, reach across, grabbing the other ear, and then putting everything in line. So pull the head top up. See if you can line up your nose with your thumb and your elbow. So you may have to stretch. And then reaching through, we want to open the meridian. So as if you're reaching through a glove, expanding energy beyond the fingertips, pushing up through the back of the neck. Breathe deep. And then change, relax. We're going to do the other side. So take your hand, reaching, and extend. Make sure everything's in line. Push up through the back of the neck. Remember to breathe and reach out through the fingertips. And then come back to the center. We'll do one more on each side. So you can time it with the breathing, but you don't have to. Expanding. Pull your elbow out to the other side. And then relax, changing to the whichever side you were doing last. Breathing deep. And then center, come back to the middle. Next, we're going to do the head and neck. So I want you to keep power going to the head top the whole time. We're going to turn the head, but I want you to, when you turn, as if you're pushing up against the top of your head the whole time you turn. And so We've done an exercise where as if you lock the shoulders, but you don't have to. You can imagine pushing on your head top all the way through the feet. And if you haven't changed directions, remember this is your stretch, your warm up. So if it feels good to work in one area or another, take the time to work on yourself. Come back to the center. We'll do a few shoulder rolls. Make these small if you have, especially if you have shoulder injuries. So see if you can make a very large circle, as if I'm going to exaggerate, as if I want to make this circle very large, but with the least amount of effort. So the largest possible circle, as soft as you can possibly make it, without using energy. The breathing definitely helps. And then change directions, do some going the other way. You can make 2 circles, 3 circles in the time. Remember to breathe. And then we're going to do some turning around the waist. But before we do that, let's do something less dynamic. Allow your feet to touch. We're going to return to He Tai Chi, Tai Chi in harmony. And then we're going to practice turning around the center. So feel like the lower body is locked in place so that your hips are always facing forwards towards your screen. And then we're going to turn. So turning around the center line, you want to keep your hands right in front of the sternum. Sometimes when we turn, we have the inclination to push or tilt or lean. In this case, try to keep everything straight, turning all the way around the center, breathing deep, and then come back to the center. We're going to do a few of these on each side. So lock your hips, turning around the spine, turn your lower back, your mid back, your upper back, your shoulders, your neck, your head, your eyes, and your intention goes even further. Come back to the center. It's important to lock the lower body because if not, we can twist the knee. So be sure to protect your knees. Turning like a spiral all the way to the top, using the eyes to lead the energy. And coming back to the center. And once you've turned your eyes all the way in the socket, turn your mind even further. Let's do one more on each side. So grip the ground with your feet, lock your hips, push up through the back of your neck, relax your tailbone. Remember the breathing. And when you get back to the center, just relax. How does your back feel? We carry a lot of tension in the back. This is one way to open it. So next, doing the same thing, but we're going to use the arms to assist in the turning. So I want you to take a nice, comfortable stance, shoulder width wide. Relax your tailbone as if you're sitting on the edge of the bench. And then we're just turning around the center. So with this one, I want you to keep your center line straight and very stable. So we don't want to have this kind of drifting sort of thing. And also, we're not turning. Try to keep your jawline facing the screen, facing your camera. And imagine that if you have the room, if you're not going to hit anything, imagine that you can send your complete arm into free fall on each side so that the turning pulls away from the center line. pushing up through the back of the neck. Relax your tailbone. So let's take a break from this one for 1 second. The two things that we're looking for in this is we're trying to stretch the spine this way. So I want to have the power going up and also the relaxation going down. So we make the spine, the center line as long as possible. The other thing too is, remember, we just got done talking about basic acupuncture theory, moving away from the center line. So if there's an injury, we want to move it down and away. So the same thing, the energy in this case, going out from the center. Imagine like if you fall asleep and your arm has pins and needles and you can't move it, but you want to change, so you sort of flop it over. Imagine the same type of relaxation where the arms are like cooked noodles. So again, take a nice comfortable stance, relax your tailbone so that you can be stable while leaving the tailbone sink and still pushing the neck up. And then breathing, we're going to use the waist. Try to keep the hips and the jawline facing forward. And then the same thing, going back to this same exercise. So remembering to breathe and feel the energy going away from the center line towards the ends of the arms. Next, take a deep breath. We're going to do a little bit of bending at the waist. I'm going to turn. So in this one, I want you to push your tailbone back and away, relax your shoulders and your head top, and let everything relax with gravity. So as if you're splitting your body in half, holding your body in half. Really check your neck and the back of your head to see if it's relaxed. You want the crown chakra pointing directly towards the ground. Grip your feet. Remember to breathe and feel your back. You should feel the blood moving in your back. We just did some stretches to open it up. So if you relax, you'll feel it in a new way. And when you're ready, grip the ground to anchor yourself, breathing. We're going to inflate all the way up. Still inflating. Continue to inflate to the maximum. And then relax. We're going to do that one more time. So the same thing, grip your feet. We want to have a solid connection to the ground. And then pushing the tailbone back and away. Relax your arms. You can think of unrolling the spine, each vertebrae. Let your head top point towards the ground. Let gravity stretch your back and neck. Remember to breathe when you're in different position, situation. Keep the breathing. So feel your back. And when you're ready, grip the ground with your feet, breathing deep, lock the base of the torso, inflating. We're going to inflate all the way up. Long breathing, keep going, and let everything relax at the end. Great. So for the legs, because we're going to do something new today, let's do this. If you've taken my class before, or if you've studied with TC before in the past, you'll recognize this one. This is to open up the back of the legs. A lot of times in this class, we do this one where we push the tailbone back and we're reaching forward. We're going to do something a little bit more dynamic today. So we're going to start with the hand exercise. So crossing the hands, doesn't matter which one's on the inside or outside for now. And then turning and then releasing like this. So bringing the hands together in the center, like you're holding something in the center here. And then turning the palms back to back. So the back of the fingertips are touching. You can have a space in the middle as well. And then just letting everything release. So form a circle, turn the circle, let it go. So breathing, form the circle, turn the circle, let it go. We could say avoid, make contact, advance. There's 3 phases. Make the circle, and then it's turning and going out. So by the way, the name for this one, doing the hand exercise first, some of TC students used to call this butterfly kicks,
And then kicks because we're going to add another movement, which is a kicking action. And I want to break it down so that you can see the dynamic of the leg. The kick ends up going straight forward to the center as such. But I'm going to turn my knee to the corner and make a little spiral before I kick. And it's important to have the toes pointing directly up. The goal for this, one of the goals for this exercise is to stretch the back of the leg. So when you kick, if the toe is pointing forward, all the contents of the legs will shift forward and will sit in a way that's not good for the bones. So if we keep the toe pointing up, the vibration goes directly to the heel. So if you're a martial artist and you like to practice kicking, heel kick, you can practice that. But I want you to think of the spiral that comes up and ends in a point. And we're going to combine that with the hand movement. So from the beginning, with the legs, bringing the leg up and to the center. And then changing the other side and turning, bringing it up and center. So take your time and kick. And this is not a high kick, by the way. This is a kick that's going to end up, if we were kicking a person below the knee, like to the knee or to the ankle, something like this. It's a low kick. So we don't have to make a big kick out this way, and it's going to the center. So turning, kick, turn, kick, turn, kick. You should feel a spiral. Okay, I'll turn the other direction and go a little bit slower. I don't know if you can still see. So from here, I'm turning my torso, bringing my foot up, and kicking it forward. And then when I step, the same, turning, bring the knee and foot up, kick to the center. Closing the legs, bring the knee up, center. Step, like we're closing the center here, center. You should feel like a half arc. It should feel like half of the Tai Chi symbol. We're always using the yin and yang. So feel that your foot travels in a spiral. And then we're going to connect it to the hands, if it wasn't confusing enough. So what it looks like if we go slow is we bring the hands together and we're turning. And then we close the hands, bring the knee up, and then kick to the center here. We bring the foot back down to the side. Close the hands, turn the hip, bring the knee up, close the hands, kick to the center. So we're going to keep going slow. Hands together, turn the hip, close the hands, bring the knee, extend the heel, relax the heel of the palms. Close, raise, kick. Make the circle, turn the hip, close the hands, raise the knee, relax the palms, kick the heel. So once you step, we turn to the other side. I'm still facing forward. Whether you angle your foot or you keep it straight isn't critical. Don't turn it beyond 45 and don't keep it turned in this way. Maybe a little bit's okay. When you bring the knee up, we close the hands and then kick into the center. So step, close the hands, turn the hip, butterfly, kick. So at speed, it should be very rounded. And you want to feel that you're sending power to the back of the leg. This is one of the best hamstring, back of the calf stretches I can find.
Brian, is this in essence you're using
You can practice to the center. When you do the turning, you can kick to the corner. Keeping the Tai Chi principles. Question, hang on one second. Yeah, Charlotte, go ahead.
Is this in essence using a shake kwa to generate the power for the kick so that you're doing a partial turn to create a coiling power?
Okay, yeah, so I don't really use that term very much. TC did use the term kwa, and he did talk about this, but the coiling and turning the hip, this is a good question, and it's correct to think about, because when I turn this hip, I consider leg rotation happening from the hip, and that the knee and toe should always follow that. There may be some exception somewhere. So when we're turning to this side, we're sinking the weight on this side to start this rotation for this kick. So you can think of sitting into that side. The angle is 135 degrees, which will force a certain amount of what you're referring to as Shekwa. Shekwa, for people that don't take classes with Yi Shui, is this folding action of the hip. So if we have a square step, it's the idea that the inside of the leg and the abs this way, the folding of the hip in here. So to do it correctly, yeah, we have to grip the ground, fold the hips inward, and then when we keep to the center, kick to the center. Does that answer your question?
It does. And so then just one more thing on the timing. So the point at which you're releasing that folding is as you lift the leg or as you kick it?
This gets into maybe some theory. My feeling on this idea is that they're always activated, and it's a matter of 1% or 99% going scalar between there. My idea is if this is always folded, that we can have this root. So I don't necessarily want to release the Shekwa. I want to keep that fold in the hip.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Not quite, but I'll ask you another time so I don't take up too much of the class with this question.
That's okay. We can talk about it. It's important. Maybe other people will benefit from the
Because I guess what I'm thinking is if you've got this folding because you're turning in,
Mhm.
and then if you're kicking out with the spiraling, you have to open in order to make that turn to kick out, right? I don't see how you can stay folded if you're
Okay, right. So you're saying on this foot, I'm
Yes.
still to keep. Okay, so this is a good question. That will still feel for me folded because when we're doing this, remember the Tai Chi principles. Every time we stand and we do Tai Chi harmony, and we talk about all these micro adjustments, expanding the head top, relaxing the face, putting the shoulders in the correct place, aligning the torso, getting the hips lined up. Those are all things that we should be doing when we're practicing Tai Chi, Qigong, etc. So when we're doing this, we want to keep, even though I'm turning the hip, I don't know if you can see, I want to keep my hips level and straight this way. So if my kick is here and my hips are level, there's definitely still a fold there. There's definitely this feeling of the compression between the legs as if there's power moving inwards. Does that make sense? So let's try this again. We'll go super slow as if we're doing it Tai Chi speed, and try to keep your hips level, your shoulders level, the head top level. So when we turn and we kick, there's no change there. Like you're doing Tai Chi, we can break it into steps to practice slower. Step, and then when you form the circle, when you close the hip this way, make sure the hips are level. And then when you close the hands and bring the knee up, same thing, make sure we don't tilt the hips. And then when you kick forward, it's the same. So it's as if my torso is locked and the legs are doing all the work, my hips staying in place. So step, make the circle, close the leg, raise the knee, close the hands, kick. And so for those of you that know it, don't go slow. This one is to open up your legs, the back of your legs, if you can do it. But for the rest of you that have maybe never seen this before, this is a very confusing and complex one. That's why we skipped all the leg stuff. But for those of you that know, if you practice and you keep that toe pointed as far towards your nose, toes to nose, as you can, you should definitely feel a good stretch in the back of your leg. Questions? Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing with the hand motion?
Okay.
Is it like somebody grabbing our shoulders or coming into our center?
So this is a unique one. From a martial arts standpoint, if somebody's punching towards my center, we're actually using these hands
to catch as such, right? So I'm not going to set up a stick, but if something's coming towards me, I create this circle to make a barrier, and my hands, but the space between them is what I'm using to block. And so as that power comes in, I'm allowing it to roll my hands. And then as it rolls the hands, I can catch with one side and do something else when I kick, right? So it's a weird block. I don't know the name for this one in Mandarin. I know the nickname is, we said butterfly kicks. But the concept is you're stepping to the side, you're blocking here, you have this space, and as the power comes in, we allow it to roll the forearms. Chansi, there's this turning of the forearm here. And then one hand can catch and the other one can kick. We can do as we like. But for the warm-up, for the yoga, for the Dao Yin, this is good to open the back of the legs. In our culture, especially now, everybody being inside, sitting so much, we have to stretch out the backs of the legs. So we can practice this one. If you grip the ground and push your tailbone back and away, try to keep your hips level. And the same thing, reaching forward. Push your tailbone back, make your spine straight. Remember to breathe. And then change, grip the ground, push your tailbone back and away, reaching forward. If you remember, we can do this one longer, like Qigong, raising the arms now and tapping the back of the leg. But since we've been working on something else, and by the way, a lot of these kind of questions we have about the structure and the format can be answered just with practice. When I have a question for my teacher, before I ask the question, I say, can I discover it by myself by practicing? Because they say, oh, should I have it go a little bit more this way or that way? Well, I do the exercise 3 times and I try it one way, and then I try it another way. And so this is the way to learn for yourself. The Tai Chi form is actually a self-expanding encyclopedia. And so as long as you understand the principles that we're supposed to be doing inside the body, then the more that you see of the form, the more that you read about the form, and the more that you practice it and study it, the more that it becomes self-evident, the more that it explains itself. With that, before we do Tai Chi, does anyone have questions, thoughts, comments, ideas? So let's go back. Before we do, we're going to do the form. We'll do all 3 sections. We have time. And I'd like to get to, this butterfly kicks may be a new exercise for some of you. If we have time at the end, we're going to do a Qigong that's good for practicing Qi in the center, that was taught by Gene. Gene's ball of string is the nickname for it. So if otherwise, let's do Tai Chi, and if we have time at the end, we'll practice that. So returning back to Tai Chi harmony, let your feet touch. And then breathe and bring your hands together in the center. And then connecting the upper palate. So these are 3 energetic circles. If the feet are touching and the hands are touching and the tongue is connected to the upper palate, we have 3 energetic roots: the legs, the arms, and the one that comes up the back and down the front. And so we'll review what the ideas are. So when we're practicing Tai Chi, we can be thinking about the head top is up. This is probably the most important thing, is that the power level is very high. We have the energy at the highest point with the chin tucked, because we can make ourselves like this, but we want to have it correct. And then the brow is relaxed. The vision is open. The face, nostrils, sinuses are open to breathe fully. Half smile is the minimum. The jaw is relaxed and the tongue is connected to the upper palate. You should feel the inside of your mouth is relaxed too. You should be producing saliva. Saliva is considered a vital gene, so we never want to spit that out. If you build up a lot of saliva while practicing Tai Chi, just swallow. It's good for digestion. Moving down, the neck is straight, lining up the ears with the shoulders. Shoulders in the correct place, roll back, relaxed, and sinking with gravity. Chest is hollow. Center is supporting. The lower back is relaxed, and the tailbone is sinking with gravity. The insides of the hips are folded in. There's a bend in the knees so that they're not straight. The ankles are expanded. They have palm. There's power to the ankle. And then the foot. Feel the mountain inside your shoe. If you activate your heel and the whole foot, it should feel triangular. It's not an equilateral triangle. And then grip your toes. We have a breathing strategy, so we're lifting the base at some point and we're closing the center at some point. And we want to be doing all these things while we're practicing Tai Chi. So now, pick a space where you'd like to start. If you're not in Tai Chi Harmony already, bring everything to the center. Put your mind in the center. Gripping the ground, we're going to open shoulder width wide. Sink your tailbone. This is Tai Chi, Qi Shi, the start of Tai Chi. Breathing deep, this is grasp the sparrow's tail. Square step forward, ward off. Breathing deep, yo, share away. Ward off. Turn your feet 90 degrees each, facing west. Join the palms, keep the circular shape. Facing north, press. Breathing, long push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal. Split hands facing west. This is hook. Square step forward. Single whip. Turning back to the north. Split. Step square. Lift hands to up posture. Grip the ground. We're going to turn 90 degrees back to the west. This is crane. Opening its wings. So Wei Pi Pa. Lo Shi. Press to the center. Breathing deep, square step back. Tui Wu. This is a repetition of crane. Opening the wings. Grip the ground. Expand. So Wei Pi Pa. Turning right into brush knee. Press. Holding the moon in the chest. Shift back. So for those of you that studied the form before, this is modified to fit into a smaller space. Fan Lan Shui on the right corner. Parry. Punch. Ru Feng. Si. Press. Press. We're going to turn to the north. This is your turn tiger to mountain. Bring the right foot to the left. The left foot forms a T. This is turning body, warning palm, due south, breathing deep, roll back. Join the palms, this is press. Long push. One student referred to this as the main course. Look left, glance right. So these 8 postures we return to: double press, horizontal, split. We have hook. Turn back to look at the moon. The right hand covers, left hand going through the center. Breathing deep, this is repulse the monkey. Scooping, stepping back, press to the center. Breathing deep. Press. Repulse the monkey, number 3. Scoop, step, press, opening to the side. This is a share fade, diagonal flying. Heidi Zhang is needle at the bottom of the seat. It doesn't matter how low you go, keep your neck straight, your back aligned. San Tong Bei. This is turn, block, punch, kick, step square, lan is parry, shui is punch. Keep your head top upright. This is di bu hua. Shen bu li. Press. We're back to the main course. This is push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal. Split hands. Hook. This is a side whip. And this is cloud hands in the second section. So turning right to press. Pressing, stepping left. That's one. Breathing, turn, press. Step and press is two. Press right, step, and press left. The owl shows hook. This is corner whip. Gao Pan Ma. Reach over the top, grip the foot, kick, turning to the south. This is Gao Pan Ma number 2. And then turning east, rushing, press to the center, Lo Shi, Ao, Kansheng, Lo Shi, Jin Bu, Zai Shui. Turn, block, punch, kick, step square, facing forward, breathing to parry, and punch. This is bend the bar. Kick, still part of bend the bar. Da Li is the big rollback. Try to keep your upper body vertical. Embrace the tiger. Da Li, another big rollback. Bao, embrace the tiger. The left foot steps behind the right. This is searching for the moon and the sea. Kick, brush. 2 wings in the air. Air foam on air. Step back, pull left, kick left, turn 1, 2, pull right, kick right, block punch kick to the west, square step long, shui. Breathing, this is Rufeng. So be as if you're enclosed, press. Turning to the north, Bao Hu Lei Xiang. Return tighter to mountain. We're going to the third section. Bring the feet together. This is Chuan Sen Kansheng, turning body, warning palm to the center. Breathing deep, this is roll back. Press. Push. Look left and glance right. Double press. We have horizontal, split hands. Hook. This is a side whip, so we're facing east. And this is Yama Fa Zheng, wild horse shaking its mane. Breathing deep, Yama Fa Zheng, Art. Number 3, wild horse shaking its mane. Breathing deep, we're returning to roll back. Keep the circular shape for press. On, So, ooh, yo, on. Double press. Horizontal split. We have the Alsha, side whip, and this is four corners. Yo, yon, chuan, so. J lady working at the shoulder. Press. Looking over the shoulder, turning 270. Scoop. Press. Turning 90. Close. Open. Press. Turning 270. Fourth corner. Scoop. Press. Left grasp the sparrow's tail. Right press. Step forward. G. We're back to the main course. On. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal split. We're facing north. This is the Alsha. Corner whip. This is the first snake creeps down, turning. And then when we return, coming up to the center, grip the ground, breathing deep. This is Jinji Duli. And then on the other side, we have Jinji Duli. Right into Repulsa Monkey. Press. Breathe. Press. Opening to the side. This is Sherfei. Same as the second section. Left-handed, right-footed hiding zang. Keep your neck straight. San Tong Bei is the same. Block, punch, kick. Square step. Focus power to a punch. Keep everything vertical. Di bu hua. Only folding the knees down. And then when you change step, return to deep breathing for rollback. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Split. Hook. This is side whip. This is cloud hands in the third section. So press to the right, turn, step, and press to the left. Breathing. Right. Step, press. Left. Breathing. Right. Step, press. Left. And then from here we have hook. Corner whip. Continue the waist turn, still looking west. This is snake flashes. It's on. Turning 180, grip the ground. Kick. Cross kick. Square step. Brush knee. Punch low. Half. Fold knees. When we come back up, change step, breathing deep to return to roll back. Press forward. Long push. Look left. Glance right. Schwang, on, double press. Horizontal split. Hook. This is a corner whip. So we're turning to the side. This is the second snake creeping down. And when we go back to the west, we're stepping at least square or more to 7 stars. Turning 90 degrees to the north, this is Schwanz and Kwafu. Turning 180, this is Bailin. Wong Sufu is open the bow to shoot a tiger, block, punch, kick, square step, long breathe, focus power, Rufong, Subi. Return tiger to mountain, blocking, punch right, punch left. Bring the left side to the right side. Bring everything back to the center. Okay, how do you feel? Good, all right. Let me talk about something before we do. I want to do that, the other Qigong. But this is something about all of the pushing in this particular form, because it's valuable to Tai Chi in general, especially when we talk about martial arts. There's an exercise in Tai Chi, many of you are familiar with, in the Mandarin called Tui So, which is push hands, where you're practicing working with another person to find their balance point, your balance point. And one of the things that happens when we do, when we get into the Tai Chi form, is we want to push, and we want to push with a lot of power. And sometimes pushing with a lot of power in Tai Chi seems backwards, because we want to be pushing down as much as we want to be pushing up. So let's use there's a posture in the first section, but I see people sometimes, even when we do double press, is this thing, I don't know if you can see because the light and shadow is, but when there's a push up this way, see how my center starts to float? And what that means is, if somebody's pushing this way and their center starts to float, I can bring them with me, right? If we go off our root. So this is about keeping, we want to be able to keep our root and extend power out to the corners of the box. By the way, another thing too is when we talk about push hands, how many here understand the idea of our square step? When we talk about square step in TC's Tai Chi form, right? Is we have shoulder width wide and shoulder width deep. So we can think of that if we have by the way, there's a tutorial or there's a workshop. It's like a half-hour video on the YouTube channel that is just talking about the square step. So if you want to refresh on that, you can check that out. But this square step, we don't actually ever want to reach outside of that box. So imagine that you have, everybody gets online deliveries now from Amazon, so it's no difficulty to imagine a box that's your shoulder width wide and your shoulder width deep and your height. So imagine like a mini refrigerator box that's arrived, and it's exactly your proportions, shoulder width wide, square, and it comes up. When we practice Tai Chi, you should actually imagine that you're stuck inside that box, right? Usually we want to think of an out-of-the-box experience. But imagine that if you try to reach outside of that box, this is not always the case. There's times when we break the rules. But if we're reaching way out here, we have to counterbalance that with something in the foot or energetically. So if we want to have a compact frame, like we said, breathing strategy is how we do the breathing. Well, in the Tai Chi, the definition of the size and shape of our form is called frame, just like we have a door frame, right, that has a certain size. So we can make our frame very large to do yoga, or if we're doing martial arts, it can be much smaller. But imagine, optimally, when we're pushing, we don't have to push outside of that box, right? We can keep our balance. And my teacher liked to use American slang, so he would say, keep your hands to yourself, right? Meaning, don't reach outside of the box, because the minute you do, your opponent has some way to, whereas if my hands are here, even if the opponent tries to connect, my whole body is still here. Whereas if it's here and the opponent connects, I have something different to work with. So again, that's a little bit of theory, but let's talk about it well, let's say we're doing double push, or in the first section we have hook and lift, and we turn and we split, and we have lift hands to up posture. A lot of times, the same thing, when we're lifting here, we get this feeling. If you can see my foot, you don't want that rear foot to lift. In fact, if anything, you want power going back down through that rear foot so that you feel stable. Your body should feel like a doorstop. There's a triangular shape. Doorstop can stop a structure 1,000 times its size. So if we use the same, using the Tai Chi principles by lining the structure up correctly, we can become very strong. So we want to send the energy out, but we don't want to fly away with it, right? So always maintain your root. If we're practicing the Tai Chi principles, we should have that. Yeah, let's do some Qigong before we close. Before we do questions, thoughts, comments, ideas on what we're working on. All right, this last one is a Qigong that was taught by Jean, and it's good for building pressure in the center. So I want you to imagine that you have a hole right here in the center of your hand, right? Just like you see in Marvel movies of Spider-Man and Iron Man, they have this placement here. And that to that hole, we're going to be pulling string, right? Like you have a cable or a cord or a string. Gene used to talk about it. Imagine there's a ball of string off to the side, and you can pull the string and feed it into that center. So with both hands, we're going to be doing that. I want you to imagine the same feeling in your feet, and then also we're going to compress the center line as well. So if I'm demonstrating, keep your feet parallel, and then as if I'm pulling in and I'm inhaling. So I'm lifting the base of the torso, closing my center. So pulling all the pressure in and then expanding. Everything's relaxed on the exhale. So when we're doing this, imagine that you're feeding the string into the center and that you're pulling up. We're actually using force to pull up the base of the torso. You're inhaling through the nose, making so much suction that you can feel your cheeks going into the center as well, and then expanding. So now the same. Pull everything to the dantian. Deep inhale. And the exhale is like, imagine you have a bubble and that you're inside the bubble, and after you've pulled all the pressure into the bubble, you want to just, using your feet and your head top and your hands, expanding the bubble. So breathing, like you can pull the string into the center of your hands, lifting the base, closing the abs, breathing in through the nostrils, expanding. You can go at your own pace, but the key is to feel the internal pressure. Use the fingertips to keep power to the fingertips, drawing energy through the arms. Let's do 3 more of these. Pulling everything into the center. Even the cheeks, there's so much inward pressure, and then expand. Like you're pulling everything in from your feet too. Like your feet can draw the string in using the toes. Expand. Go on your own. Go at your own pace. And that's a good question. I see already someone has answered their own question by practicing at a different speed. So yes, be careful with this. By the way, how many, after doing this, when you can feel your blood pressure, you feel something, you feel the chi moving in your body, you feel warm, something, right? That means you're doing it correctly. So the idea is almost like we're taking a balloon and we want to draw all the air out of it into the center and then re-expand it. By the way, for those of you practicing fast, just maintain the feeling of chi, maintain the feeling of your blood pressure, because we want to change the pressure dynamic inside the body. So take a break when you need to. Let's actually close. It's time. It's actually 2 minutes after. So just 3 times, we're going to breathe. So longest, most relaxed breaths of the day, taking in all the energy, all the chi. Long, relaxed breathing. You can make it a stretch. And then let your hands float. Like you're taking them offline and the air underneath is enough to support them. Relax your shoulders. The more you relax your arms, the lighter they are. We're going to do 2 more of those. So on your own, inflate. Use the new idea for generating pressure to do a longer, deeper breath. And then practice floating your hands. Imagine something lighter than air, but thicker than air, like a spider web. If you know what carbon nanofibers are, even feathers. Going at your own pace. And then bring your feet back together. Bring your hands together in the center. Leave your eyes somewhere between open and closed. And move your mind into your dantian. If you can look physically, turn your eyes looking towards your center. Internally, take a deep breath and relax. Looking at yourself, take a second to smile to yourself. And internally, take a moment to give thanks to yourself any way that you like. Take a long, deep breath. And that's it. Thank you. Charlotte, we can talk offline about your question. We can talk more about that. Maybe do a video on that type of thing. Meanwhile, if you have questions, thoughts, comments, text, call, send us an email. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
What's that?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Thanks.
Bye.
See ya.